ladies and gentlemen, Mike Naso here from Internet Partnership Radio with a video update on Tropical Storm Alberto. You can see it there in the Gulf of Mexico, not looking terribly well organized. The center of circulation right about in here, and you can see most of the moisture is well to the east of the center, and that's where the strongest winds are as well. In fact, let's take a look at the latest on Alberto as of 8 p.m. New advisory coming in about an hour and a half. It might be a little bit weaker, but I'm guessing still the same. 45 miles an hour moving north at 8, and 1,004 millibars expected to kind of take a turn by tomorrow night to the northeast, and then by 48 hours inland. Now, I'm seeing mixed signals with it tonight. One, yesterday, when it was centered down in this area here, I was expecting that it was going to hit Florida very soon. I was thinking this thing's going to jet right to Florida. I thought, no, the trough's digging, the ridge is backing down, and this thing's just going to go into Florida. Well, what happened this morning was the center pretty much relocated to the west, and that is why we see it now in the Gulf of Mexico, well in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, just about, even to the southeast of New Orleans, which is much different from where it was this time yesterday. So, my thinking has changed a bit. I still think it's going to take a turn into Florida, but if it does, I think it's going to be faster and more of a sharp turn than what the officials show. Again, that's my amateur opinion. You have to go by the official information. The Hurricane Center, I think if it does turn, it's going to be pretty sharp. I think the trough would dig in quick. However, I'm starting to think it might not, because there's a chance this thing might sit around and linger for a while, and if it does that, there's a chance that it may never even strike Florida or get picked up and might just kind of move west and die away. So this is a very tricky forecast, and I certainly am not able to come up with my thoughts even on what this storm's probably going to do. Latest satellite image visible before the sun went down. You can see it right there. As a matter of fact, let's stop that there. You can see the center right in here, and notice how the thunderstorms were blowing up over it. They're getting sheared. This system has a vast circulation. Good thing this isn't a hurricane, because if it was and it was full of convection, this would be a pretty wet storm. Although this is going to be wet as well for Florida, but you're going to need it in Florida. You're going to need it for sure, because Florida has been pretty drought-stricken with the wildfires, and when I believe they've had wildfires in Florida. I think they have. What's wrong with me? Anyway, they need rain. Okay, so the threat is certainly anywhere along the Big Bend, all the way down towards Flamingo Key. However, I think the main area of landfall is probably going to be somewhere near, say, Cross City, up near where Hurricane or Tropical Storm Gordon made landfall 6 years ago. Cross City, down to Sarasota, I think, is where we're probably going to see landfall. However, the brunt of the storm will be throughout the entire Florida peninsula and well ahead of the center. A lot of rainfall coming. Again, for some reason, I thought you had wildfires in Florida. I still think you do. Either way, you need some rain, and so that's going to help you out with the rainfall. And luckily, there won't be a lot of wind with Tropical Storm Alberto. If it stays a tropical storm, you can see this flow is basically out of the southwest right onto our tropical storm, and that's why it's not being able to intensify and has not been able to intensify. I know it's very favorable down here in the northwest Caribbean. And I think that's why we had an anticyclone over it 2 days ago. That's why it was strengthening so well. It got up here, and it's like, what? And it just cannot intensify. With the flow the way it is, I'm pretty sure this is going to Florida, but I just wanted to throw that dying out, moving westward scenario out there for y'all. Central Atlantic elsewhere, pretty good wave out here, say a couple hundred miles east of the islands. Long time to watch that. Not sure exactly where this will end up, but if it does end up in the Caribbean down the road, we may have to deal with Beryl. Also notice behind it some activity on the Intertropical Convergence Zone. Keep an eye on that. A little bit further out there's a better look at that activity. Nothing coming off Africa at this point, although over the next day or so we could see a wave start to leave. Eastern Pacific, we could very well have Bud on our hands in a couple of days. This system out here it could very well slowly develop into a depression or a storm. Central Pacific, little area out there not to worry about. And finally, in the Western Pacific, a lot of convection. However, it doesn't look like we'll get anything, although I wouldn't be surprised if this develops into a tropical depression over the next several days. But right now, no development anticipated on my part or anybody else's. That's a look at Tropical Storm Alberto, and I will see you next time. Stay tuned.